Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Dan Bloodworth, and as you can see, I'm going to be commemorating belated Robert E. Howard's birthday, which was January 22nd. He was born in 1906, and the other day, I think it was Tuesday, I was really intending to do this video, and I didn't, get around to it. It was very busy midweek, and so here I am today. So I think the best way for me to jump into Robert E. Howard and talk about the impact that he had is to talk about it in a very personal way, and that is that my reading when I was in elementary school and the early part of what was middle school back then. I wasn't a very good reader. I didn't read, very quickly. I was kind of slow at it, and even though I comprehended what I read well, I was a struggling reader. And it wasn't until I started getting into reading uh, fantasy and science fiction did I really, start to pick up books for the purpose of reading for enjoyment rather than pretending like I was reading for school. The only exception to that was John Steinbeck, who was probably one of the first novels I ever actually read from cover to cover, and that would have been, I think it was The Moon is Down. But immediately following that, I picked up The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings and read those through their entirety. And then that led me to Robert E. Howard and his writing. So this would have been around the late 1970s, around the same time that I started playing Dungeons and Dragons. So, and I immediately picked up with the characters of Conan and Solomon Kane and Bran McMorn and El Barak and all of these different oh, it's going to slip my mind now. Steve Cunnington. So all of these different characters, coming out from this this one particular author um, really sparked my interest in reading, and I've been following anything Robert E. Howard related, over these last 40 years, and I've been collecting Conan comic books from all the way back from the early 70s. So 1970 was Conan the Barbarian #1, which I have. I have the complete run of Conan the Barbarian. I have many of the Savage Swords. I have the Conan Saga, King Conan, and a handful of the Dark Horse comics as well. And now that Conan the Barbarian has been re-released under Marvel's banner, I've been following that as well. But my true love for Robert E. Howard is in his original stories and his books. And but that doesn't mean that there weren't some really, great adaptations of his stories, and that's what I'm going to focus on today, in order to, kind of commemorate the impact that he has had on not just not just literature, not just he's not just an American literary giant and the founding father of sword and sorcery. I mean, he's not just internationally known, but he's impacted so many other. His works have impacted so many other genres and so many other media that whether it be comic books or video games or novels or even action figures or metal figures and role playing games as well. So just so many different outlets. If you're a Robert E. Howard fan, there's so many different outlets out there for you to take a look at, as well as the movies too, which I didn't mention. So I'm going to jump to one of my favorite stories, and this is you know this is one of my throwback videos, so throwback graphic novels. And I'm going to switch views, and here will be your reveal. So Robert E. Howard's Pigeons from Hell. Now, this particular adaptation it was adapted by Scott Hampton, and the introduction by Ramsey Campbell. And as you can see, this was dated 1988. Now, looking at looking at the physical binding, I mean, there's a little nick here, but it's it's really pretty solid. I probably purchased this in 1988 and threw it into a backboard and a sleeve and left it alone because I'm very familiar with the story anyway. But opening it up after over 30 years, it's it really is quite amazing book. So I'm just going to open this up, and just show it off, quite a bit. So, and I'll lower the view if it does struggle to get into focus. But so here's the introduction. Let's see how long it takes. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, the camera just takes a couple seconds to bring it into view. I'm really loving this camera. I don't know how much I can, the pages are so glossy, even though, the book is, 31 years old. And that goes towards, when I lift it up, you can see it clearer. It gets rid of the glare. You see the artwork is really, really impressive, on the inside of this. I mean, this house in the woods, it really does catch that that gloominess. Let's see if I could do something about this glare. Nah, that didn't help. It's the other light, actually. Yeah, so I apologize for that glare. But the artwork is just impressive in this graphic novel. I mean, you can see the fear and the intensity. You see the detail in this here. I mean, it's just amazing, amazing artwork. Actually, let me give full credit for the artwork. Interesting. Somehow I missed it. So perhaps it is Scott Hampton that did the artwork. Let's see. All right, here we go. So this book is hand-lettered by Tracy Hampton, edited by Leda Gosler, and designed by Dean Mullaney. The cover, hardcover, blah, blah, blah. I don't see any credit to who actually did it. Perhaps it is Scott Hampton. But anyhow, I'll get back to. So if you're not familiar with the story, it's, I certainly recommend it. I'm not going to spoil the story for you because, it really does help the story by not knowing it if you haven't read it before. And it is, really quite amazing story. One of my favorite of Robert E. Howard's. So, and you can easily find it online. It's in public domain, so you could read the story for free. And it's just amazing, amazing graphic novel adaptation of that story. And we'll continue. I can see there's quite a bit of suspense and, action build up, rebuild up, followed by more suspense and action. And then, these Uvimbi. If you know the story, you'll know how cool that actually is, the Zuvembi. And then finally, we get to the conclusion. So, and then at the very end, it tells the, let's see if it gives credits here. Oh, once again, just to, which included stories, artwork by Johnny Craig, Alan Fedelstein, Graham Eggins. No, I think that's one of his other works. So again, I don't quite know who did the art in this book. I'd have to actually, tear into it and really search for it. But kind of, really beautiful graphic novel. If you wanted to get this, I've seen this on eBay, typically under $20. So certainly, it's certainly not something that's super overpriced. If you do want to get this, you certainly could get your hands on it. Absolutely worth $20 if you can get it for, for that amount. You might even be able to get it for less than that. So I strongly suggest that you get your hands on this graphic novel. It's certainly, one of my favorite throwbacks. Is this, is this graphic novel, and I'm really enjoying doing these throwback. Really enjoy doing these throwbacks as well. So, I have quite a few more to go. So anyway, it's the start of another weekend, or about midway through my Saturday night. I do intend to get some playing going on. I just did a video for for Elder Scrolls. I'm going to throw that up there as well. So be on the lookout for that. I'm probably going to post this one first and then that one. This one's a little bit shorter. So you all have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen sometime soon. And, just have a good time. Have a good weekend. Have a good night.